Hey everybody, Scarpad from Scarpad's Comic Treks. And today we're looking at the Facsimile version of the Green Lantern #1. I was always kind of a Green Lantern fan in the 80s and 90s. I liked his team-ups, especially the Brave and the Bold stuff he did with the Green Arrow. Green Arrow, Green Lantern were fun characters, even though they were kind of riffs on Superman and Batman. I enjoyed them. So, of course, when I saw this Facsimile come out, since I'm a huge fan of dollar books, I picked it up. Issue #1 came out in August 1960 and kind of reintroduced the Green Lantern, who was previous in a book called Showcase prior to that as the second Green Lantern. So this book kind of sets up a retelling of his origin story with some newer material. And that's what this Facsimile hopes to show you. His fight with this red dude with a mullet. But, you know, there's no hiding, especially in these early books, that Green Lantern is ultimately a Superman clone. And we'll take a look at something in a little bit that even goes on to address that in this book. So, of course, first thing we do is reintroduce the origin of the story. Hal Jordan crashes and runs into Albin Sur, who gives him the ring and the lantern, and he becomes Green Lantern. And the Guardians on Oa are watching, retelling of this whole thing with Al Jordan's clone, basically energy clone, telling him the story of how he became a Green Lantern. Love the artwork in this book. Typical of the Silver Age here. Actually, Golden Age, really, here. And so once we get through this part of it, you got Albin Sur there. Really cool. And of course, this book reintroduces the motto of the Green Lanterns, their scree. Like always picking up a mountain here with his ring. A lot of these little editor note bubbles that were prevalent back in the 60s here. Editor note. You saw this before. Editor note. Editor's note. And obviously, the whole Carol Ferris thing is Lois Lane, who, Carol doesn't like Hal, but loves Superman. And of course, this takes a little bit further in the fact that Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, is shown dating Carol Ferris. Actually, in the book, he's actually dancing with her, which seems kind of ridiculous. So he has to go to this planet to help these primitives who ultimately are running away from that gorilla with a mullet. Like how they all look like the Incredible Hulk. Look at this guy. And what was popular back in the 60s, Encase the Monster in a block of ice. I did that to Godzilla a few different times. I like how his ring basically looks like a pair of ice tongs here. Guma Kama. Nice. Yeah, he saves the day, and that's the end of the story. And this is the letter I was talking about. They tell people, people bitch and moan about things nowadays with the internet. Look at this letter. Dear editor, I think your comic is disgraceful. First, you just can't be different. You have to copy all the other infamous comic heroes such as Superman, The Flash, with their secret identity, which doesn't help him at all. This shows no originality. Second, I think your posture when you fly is terrible. You look like a sick horse. Burn. You should copy the way Superman flies. But then he would say he's copying him. First, he's bitching about they've copied Green Lantern with Superman. Then he's bitching they're not copying the Green Lantern with Superman. So I guess you couldn't please anybody in the 60s either, god damn it. Third, my biggest complaint is that ridiculous power ring. How hard can you get? How hard up can you get? And the way you charge it up, boy, you're sick. Fourth, why don't you have letters to GI columns? Are you chicken or something? Yeah, a little GI love here. I'm Fat Man. We have printed this letter in the exact form as written, explaining the use of the Lantern SIC. So who's sick is sick now. So people were bitching and moaning even back in the 60s about the comic book, so we have nothing to fear. There's a backup story here. Introduces Puppet Master. And you get more Kill Ferris hijinks with Green Lantern. And then Green Lantern thwarting several crimes. And of course, this whole conceit that the Green Lantern's ring doesn't work on anything that's yellow because of an impurity in a battery. So, of course, naturally, the Puppet Master is wearing yellow. Go imagine. Like how he has to defeat this puppet that ultimately looks like the Joker. And then, yeah, there he is. Mr. Forehead here with the yellow suit. I like this little conceit, though, in the book, the fact that his hypno ray can't work on anybody, can't make him do anything they don't want to, so that's why he just targets criminals, because, of course, they want to be bad. That's great. And here he is at the dance. Oh, but the Puppet Master's making him do some Watusi steps. But ultimately, even though he can't work anything yellow, he can sling something at the Puppet Master and humiliate him in front of the cops. And that's really it. Green Lantern #1. I love these books. I wish this, of course, this was a $1 book. This is a $3 facsimile. And I don't think their facsimiles, DC stuff, is as good as the Marvel stuff. But still, to have a book like this in your collection that you'll never own because it would cost way too much money and have it in nice shape, you can't do better. I love these things, and hopefully they'll put out more. All right, so that's the Green Lantern #1. Just a little look at it real quick. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. Remember, keep trekking and keep on reading.